y regiones donde tenemos.
Aquí en Colombia, en la región del Bajo Cauca antioqueño, está nuestra operación aluvial, con un método de producción eficiente, rentable y confiable, en el cual utilizamos dragas de succión y de cuchara.
Además, nuestros procesos los hacemos con poza cerrada, lo que impide intervenir el lecho del río. Nuestros procesos de separación de minerales los hacemos por gravimetría sin utilizar agentes químicos.
Somos más de 960 personas con empleos directos y generamos más de 3.000 oportunidades laborales por encadenamiento productivo. Hoy contamos con importantes programas sociales y ambientales que estamos desarrollando con las comunidades para dejar un legado sostenible en la región.
Hacer minería responsable nos ha retado a implementar procesos que vayan en equilibrio con el medio ambiente, para que nosotros y futuras generaciones disfrutemos de una mejor calidad de vida.
Bienvenido a Bonanza. Aquí en ENCO Mineros Nicaragua estamos convencidos de que la minería bien hecha es la que a su paso deja el mundo mucho mejor de lo que lo encontramos.
Somos más de 1.400 colaboradores, hacemos minería subterránea y somos pioneros del modelo Bonanza.
Somos foco de empleo y desarrollo para la gente
Development and employment focus for the honest people of the Caribbean region. Our priority is security and health of our collaborators. That's why we have strict safety and security protocols in our operations so that we all arrive healthy and safe to our homes. We've surpassed frontiers. In 2021, we reached Toronto Stock Exchange, being the first mining company in Colombia to be listed in this exchange. It has made us known and opened doors to great commercial opportunities. We feel proud of our history. These are 50 years of growth, evolution, and great opportunities. The commitment of our people has made possible today. We celebrate 5 decades. We are going for more, for the well-being of all. One, two, three, check, sound. Good morning, everybody. We're still waiting. There's some people registering, so bear with us. We're going to wait for 10 more minutes so that Deceval brings us the complete datum of quorum. Then we will pass the video a couple of times more, but we're going to give about 10 minutes because there's still people registering, so we're going to wait for a few more minutes. Anna, can you lower the volume slightly? Check, 1, 2, 3, check. 1, 2, 3, check. Sonido 1, 2, 3, probando sonido. 1, 2, 3, check. 1, 2, 3. Ahí ya, bien, Mateo, ¿cierto? Bien. 1, 2, 3, check. 1, 2, 3. Bien. Bien. Vete hasta el fondo, sigue caminando hasta allá, hasta el fondo, hasta donde está. Ahí, sigue para allá caminando. Sigue más para allá y sube ya así hacia arriba. Sube por esa isla, por esa hilera. 1, 2, 3, check. Donde tienes que subir es ahí. No, yo te digo donde. Sigue caminando para allá y sube para allá. Check. Check, ese es el punto, ahí, cheque ahí en ese punto, ahí es el punto, perfecto, 1, 2, 3, check, ahí estamos, 1, 2, 3, check, 1, 2, 3, check, sound 1, 2, 3, check, sound 1, 2, 3, check, sound 1, 2, 3, check, 1, 2, 3, check, 1, 2, 3, check, sound 1, 2, 3, check, sound 1, 2, 3, check. 1, 2, 3, check, sound, 1, 2, 3, check. 1, 2, 3, check, sound, 1, 2, 3, check. English channel, 1, 2, 3, check. Are we okay? 1, 2, 3, check. One, two, three, check. Sound, 1, 2, 3, check. Okay. All right. Por favor, confirma con él que sí esté escuchando bien, ¿sí? Check, 1, 2, 3, check, sound.
Mineros está cumpliendo 50 años.
Mineros is 50 years old, is 5 decades generating well-being for our collaborators and employees and our families, communities, and all the regions where we have our footprint in Colombia and elsewhere. Here in Colombia, in the lower Cauca region of Antioquia, we have our alluvial operation with a method of production that's efficient, profitable, and reliable, where we use suction dredges and bucket dredges. Our process is done with high quality protocols to protect the river. Our process for mineral separation is done through gravimetry without using chemical agents. We are more than 960 people with direct jobs, and we generate more than 3,000 indirect jobs through our supply chains. Today we have important programs, social programs and environmental programs that we're developing with communities to give a sustainable legacy to our community. To make responsible mining has challenged to implement processes that are environmental friendly to have better quality of life. Welcome to Bonanza. Here in Nicaragua, we're convinced that properly made mining leaves the site, and they work better than we found it. More than 1,400 employees. We do underground mining, and we're pioneers in the Bonanza model. We are an employment and development focus for honest and hardworking people of our region of the autonomous Caribbean and coastal region. Our priority is safety and health of our collaborators. That's why we have strict safety protocols in our operation, so that we all arrive healthy and safe to our homes. We have surpassed frontiers. In 2021, we are reaching Toronto Stock Exchange, being the first mining company in Colombia in being listed in this market, which has made us known and opened doors to new commercial opportunities. We are proud of our history, 50 years of growth, evolution, and opportunity generation. The commitment of our people has made possible today we celebrate 5 decades of history. We're going for more, for the well-being of all. Check, 1, 2, 3, check. 1, 2, 3, check. 50 years of history. Ahí ya está Mateo, ¿cierto? Bien, listo. Check, check, 1, 2, 3, check. Mateo, ¿bien? Ok. Still people registering, we have sufficient quorum to make decisions valid. A little bit to reward those that were sharp in time. We're going to get started. Before giving the mic to the chairman of the assembly, I would like to give you some clarity about something. The role of management in an assembly like the one we have today is to look for all the ways possible so that shareholders can exert their rights, not to be violated and lose any rights. For this reason, we have lawyers present that have been helping us to understand this process. As you all well know, this is a very atypical assembly for Mineros for the special conditions, and that's why it's possible that during the assembly we make breaks to consult the lawyers. So we ask you for patience. If we have to consult before answering a question, you can expect that, because we want to do it in the best way possible, responsibly as management, which is our responsibility, so that when you make decisions, you do it with all the information, with all so you can exert your vote without anyone violating or without having partial or insufficient information. Good morning, everybody. I am Alberto Mejia. For me, it is a pleasure to be here to preside this assembly, more than anything because 50 years ago, my father, Jorge Mejia Salazar, was one of the founders and the force behind this company. Among many of you, I declare this shareholders assembly open. Mrs. Secretary, please read the agenda for today. Good morning, everybody. The agenda for today for the ordinary assembly: first, verification of quorum and installation of the assembly. Second, approval of the agenda. Third, designation of the revision and approval of the minutes commission. Fourth, reading the management report. Five, presentation of separated and consolidated financial statements as of 31st of December 2023. Sixth, reading the external auditor's report. Seventh, approval of the management report. Eighth, approval of financial statement separate and consolidated as of 31st of December 2023. Ninth, presentation and approval of the dividend distribution project. 10th, a consultative vote for the board of directors. 11th, election of the board of directors for the period 2024-2025. 12th, fees for the board of directors. Number 1 point in the agenda, verification of the quorum. I point out that this assembly was called in the legal statutory terms through publications in the website and in the press in February 20, 11th, 18 of 2024. As for the shares listed in TSX, we have notified an access according to the applicable laws, and we've made available to shareholders all the required documentation. Unless there are any objections, I propose that I certify that we presented verification that the notification has been done according to bylaws and Canadian compliance of rules. Once all the shares are in the credentials expedited for this meeting, I report that there are fully accredited 199,846,070 shares that are equivalent to 66.67% of shares in circulation. Therefore, there is sufficient quorum to deliberate and make decisions valid. I also report that nor managers nor employees of the companies are representing any foreign shares, so we declare open this assembly. At the end, when you register, you receive the QR code and some voting slips. Please preserve those documents because they could be necessary for voting during this meeting. I report to shareholders that the current meeting is being recorded and has transmission through streaming in the website of the company. Secondly, approval of the minutes. Shareholders, the votes of the assembly will be carried out by acclamation as long as possible. I kindly request you to raise your hand in case you're not in agreement with one of the decisions being taken. Does the assembly approve the agenda? Yes. Anyone against it? So it is so approved. Thank you very much. Third, designation of the Commission to review and approve the minutes of the Assembly. I put to the consideration of the Assembly Beatriz Uribe and Catalina Torres as the delegates to make up the Commission to review and approve the minutes. Do you approve this delegation for the review of the minutes? Anyone that opposes it? So it is so approved. At this point, we report to the Assembly that we will receive so that Mr. Francisco Pamplona integrates the Commission for the verification of the scrutinies, taking into account that according to the internal regulation of the Assembly, the elections, the Commission to supervising the ballot would be made by the Secretary that, as per the regulation approved by the Assembly, can request the accompaniment of the external auditor. And we propose that the Assembly allows Mr. Pamplona to accompany the Commission in charge of as an observer. Does the Assembly approve this proposition? Anyone in disagreement? So it is so approved. Fourth, reading the management report. Because of changes in current legislation, the complete text of the management report has an extension of 130 pages approximately. And it was available of all the shareholders during the period for the exercise of the inspection right. Considering the above, the president of the company, the CEO of the company, will present as follows a brief summary of the most relevant aspects of this period. Mr. Chairman. Mr. CEO, go ahead. Dear shareholders, this year the management report was prepared according to Circular 012 and 031 of 2022 of the Financial Superintendency of Colombia. Today I will present a summary of activities and results of this exercise of 2023. Nevertheless, the full document, you find it in the printed book that we put in your seats, and in the separate financial statements that we published in the website since February 15. Let's begin with general aspects of Mineros. We are a gold mining company with headquarters in Medellin, with diversified operations in productive stage and development stage located in Central and South America, Central America. Our mines and operations are Nechí Alluvial in Colombia and Gemco in Nicaragua. In addition, we have a series of growth projects, such as Porvenir, which are in pre-feasibility stage, and the Luna Roja exploration front in Nicaragua, and we have 20% property in La Pepa project in Chile. We have 50 years of experience, which will be in November will be on our anniversary, and we are listed under Mineros, a symbol in Colombia Stock Exchange, and MSA in TSX in Canada. Risks and legal risks and legal processes. There is no processes where we are part of that we have the capacity of materially affecting the operation or financial situation. In risks, we can find detailed information in the printed document, but I'll mention the main ones. Risk in the price of precious metals. The gold price that we sell is determined in the international market, and we have no impact whatsoever on it. So we manage this risk through hiring, through financial derivatives and hedging, so we can guarantee stability of revenues and tight margins. The second risk is that we operate in complex and difficult geographies, which exposes us in some points to changes in the rules of the game or changes in macroeconomic policies that can impact our competitiveness. This risk, we look to mitigate this risk being in several geographies. That's why we are in Colombia and in Nicaragua. That's why we were in Argentina, where we withdrew. But it's a way of mitigating risk is to be in several geographies. That's why we are also in Chile. Third risk, our operations are exposed to high threats and vulnerability to weather and climate. We've had impacts of hurricanes in Nicaragua, and as you will realize when we talk about relevant facts and events, we stopped operations in Nicaragua precisely to better prepare the operation for the hurricane season, where there was no serious risk. Let's go on to relevant events in the year ending. March 10, we had to stop operation in our alluvial mine in El Bagre because of protests of informal miners. The interruption was 2 weeks and affected the operation of Colombia in the first quarter. Nevertheless, it is to be emphasized that during the rest of the year, we were able to compensate these non-produced ounces, and we were able to reach a production goal for 2023, and we exceeded production of 2022. On March 16, we published the results of the pre-feasibility study of Porvenir. According to the study, Porvenir would increase significantly the useful life of operation in Nicaragua, going from 5 to 3 years, from 3 to adding 57,000 ounces. On May 29th, we finished the strategic alliance for exploration with Royal Road in Colombia and Nicaragua. It was a friendly agreement where we kept the properties that we were exploring in Nicaragua and Royal Road with the properties in Colombia. August 2nd, we had the suspension of our main plant in Hemco during 2 weeks, and the suspension that I talked about. This suspension was preventive. What we were looking for during these 2 weeks, increasing the toxification of the plant. It had a delay due to COVID because great part of the machinery are under order, and to raise the tailings dam to be prepared for those seasons. We fulfilled this, we achieved this, we impacted the production during the third quarter because of these works. We didn't have enough time though to recover that production because it was very close to the end of the year. But anyway, we ended up the year close to the expected production range that we had communicated to the market, disclosed to the market for the year. And to close relevant events, since September 7, we sold Gualcamayo mine in Argentina. As you can see, as we had said, it was a very hectic, challenging year, but undoubtedly we came stronger out of it. Performance of the stock exchange. In the slide in the screen, you can see the behavior of the shares in Colombia Stock Exchange on the left and TSX on the right in Canada. In Colombia, on the left, the price is stable in 2022 with price of 1,835. In Toronto, the price has a reduction of 10%, closing at 65 cents of Canadian cents. I share with you that the number of transactions and the movement in Canada, there were 20. This year we closed with 27.4 million. There's a lot to do. There's a long way to go. I want to give you ease of mind that we will continue working to increase the liquidity of the shares in TSX. This year, for example, we signed an agreement with Redmark, which is a company dedicated to financial communications, with which we made a virtual presentation of Mineros every month. We continue looking for new ways of unlocking the value of Mineros for you. Of Mineros' value. Gold price. In 2023, gold closed $2,063 per ounce, showing a 12% increase vis-a-vis 2022. During the year, the price increased from 1,008. The floor was 1,811 and the ceiling of 2,077. During the year, the price was influenced mainly by monetary policy of central banks of different economies in the world. Financial performance and operational performance. Alan, the CFO, is going to talk about the consolidated and separated financial statements, so I'm going to talk quickly about performance. Gold production decreased 13% versus 2022. This is explained because of Gualcamayo. Continuous operation revenues, continued operation. Colombia, Nicaragua reached 1.9 trillion pesos, growing 9%. gross, there was 12% increase of continued operation, while the loss of discontinued operation was 233 billion. Alan will explain what is the makeup of that loss. As far as unit cost, the cash cost and the all-in cost increased 7%. Explained by higher operational costs given the revaluation of the peso and higher gold price that affects buying artisanal gold and artisanal material and more investments in sustenance and maintenance. Going to liquidity perspective, we have a healthy cash flow thanks to a higher flow of cash coming from operations, and since we have a strategy of strict control of cost control and cost optimization. Let's go to investments. During 2023, additions of property, plant and equipment and intangibles, including discontinued operation, added 2,088 billion, which is a reduction of 24% vis-a-vis investments in 2022. Investment were financed with our own direct resources. In Colombia, we invested close to 75 billion pesos, destined to sustenance, exploration, leasing vehicles, and additions to property, plant, and equipment. In Hemco, Nicaragua, we invested about 178 billion pesos, approximately, in exploration, increasing the capacity of the dam, and also the sustenance and leasing of mining vehicles. In Gualcamayo, Argentina, we made investment close to 33 billion between January and September when we sold the operation. Exploration and growth. Exploration we did was focused on the replacement and expansion of mineral resources and mineral reserves located inside or outside our operational mines or close to our operational mines, in exploration fronts in zones of our mining rights which have been little explored. As I mentioned at the beginning, our most advanced project is Porvenir in Nicaragua. After obtaining positive results in the pre-feasibility study this year, we've continued drilling with the objective of increasing metallurgy levels. As you see, we continue exploring near fronts, near to our current operation, looking to increase or improving the category of our reserves and mineral resources. Guidance estimates, production estimates or guidance. This is a custom in Toronto's market. Companies give an estimate or a guidance for every year. The guidance is an indication of how we expect the performance to be in 2023 in terms of production, cash cost, and all-in sustaining cost. For this year, 2024, we're projecting a consolidated production between 209 and 229,000 ounces. This anticipates a stable production in our two operations in Nicaragua and Colombia. What's expected in a mining operation as production is stable in time, unless unless new projects kick in or acquisitions are made. So this means that it's unlikely that we have an increase in guidance until we don't incorporate Gualcamayo. For 2024, we estimate a cash cost in a range between 1,000 and 1,180 and 2,000, and an all-in sustaining cost, AISC, up to the cash cost and AISC expected are similar to 2023, given the fact that costs have been pressured by the high revaluation of the Colombian peso and the price of the elevated cost that elevate the higher price of gold that affects the price of artisanal. Porvenir is in pre-feasibility. We're working on feasibility, and only when feasibility is positive we will we'll have to make the decision at the board of going ahead with the investment or not. Social responsibility, or CSR. In the package that you have in your seats, we included a summarized version of the sustainability memoirs, including the most relevant data of our management of our process, and we have the full memoirs on the website of Mineros in the section of sustainability. I invite you to read it and learn a little bit more of everything we do in sustainability and protecting our stakeholders. Several miscellaneous topics The press release includes clauses, for example, operations with related parties, including the payment to the Colpatria Insurance Company and Royal Road according to the agreements, certifications of managers and the board of directors, where we certify the compliance of all the regulations of intellectual property and payment to employees and Social Security, and the free circulation of the invoices issued, and the report of the Código País survey, as you see in the chart in the slide. The Board of Directors and Management thank the effort and dedication of our employees, workers, as well as their commitment to the achievement of the targets that we have set ourselves. Eduardo Pacheco Cortés, Lucía Taborda, José Fernando Llano Escandón, Dieter Jentz, Nicolás Durán, Mónica Jiménez, Alberto Mejía Hernández, Sergio Restrepo Izaza, Juan Carlos Páez Ayala. With this, I end this summary. I finalize this summary of the period, and I give back the mic to the chairman of the assembly. Thank you, Mr. CEO and Secretary. Fifth point: presentation of separate and consolidated financial statements as of December 31st, 2023. Mr. Alan Wansier, CFO, will give you a brief explanation of the financial statements that were made available to all shareholders more than 15 working days before this meeting. After, we will open a Q&A session, as we did last year, and because of social responsibility, the book through a QR code, you can go with this QR code to the consolidated notes that were available to all the shareholders in the terms of law, and they're available complete in the website of the company. I give you the mic. Good morning, everybody. Let's begin with the consolidated financial statements. The revenues grew by 9%, reaching 1.9 trillion pesos, benefited by higher price of gold, 8%, more added to an increase of 83% in silver sales. Costs were increased by 8%, getting to almost 1.3 trillion, explained mainly by more purchases of artisanal mineral, given the increase in gold price, and more labor costs, services, and maintenance. Gross profits were close to 628 billion, which represents an increase of 12%. Administrative expenses were reduced by 4%, explained by less expenses in services, insurance, and lower taxes, which were partially countered by more payments in salaries and employee benefits. The increase of 13% in other revenues is mainly due to the difference in foreign exchange, which was partially countered by more additional other revenues, especially the insurance payment for the Llanuras contingency in 2023. The result of continuous operation, that is without Gualcamayo, without Argentina, had an increase of 17%, close to 301 billion pesos. I remind you that the data from 2022 have been restated to reflect in a comparative fashion, Gualcamayo as a discontinuous operation according to applicable accounting practices. The loss of a discontinued operation corresponds to Gualcamayo and is made up of the net loss of the operation, amounting to 100 billion pesos, added to the asset loss, 133 billion. The total net profit was 68 billion, which is an increase of 258% compared to 2022. Now let's take a look at the general consolidated balance. The movements of the balance reflect the sale of Gualcamayo. Assets of the company were reduced in 31%, getting to 1.9 billion pesos, explained by lower inventory of minerals in process and lower plant and equipment. The reduction in gold inventories is directly related to the sale of Gualcamayo, since it was the only operation with these inventories. Liabilities were reduced by 47%, getting to 600 billion. close to 600 billion. This reduction is due to less credits and less loans, less accounts receivable, and less deferred taxes, less accounts payable, and less deferred. Net equity is 21%, getting to 1.3 billion due to the loss of Guancamayo, variations in the exchange rate, and the dividend decrees and the decreed dividends. As far as cash equivalents during 2023, cash and cash equivalents decreased close to 9%. Net cash flows coming from operational activities generated close to 389 billion. Explained by gold sales close to 2.2 billion, which were countered with offset by payments to vendors, payment to employees and social security agencies, 367 billion, and income tax 114 billion. Cash used in investment activities was 203 billion, distributed mainly in property, plant and equipment purchases, 191 billion, and cash outlays related to exploration projects, 31 billion. Finally, the cash flow used in financing and funding activities was 198 billion, made up by the payment of dividends payments, 89 billion, and of financial obligations amounting to 77 billion. Now, a brief explanation of the separate financial statements of financial results. In 2023, revenues decreased 62%, reaching to 198 billion. Explained greatly because we didn't carry out gold sales and silver sales from Mineros S.A. directly in the second and third quarter of the year, because Gualcamayo started to sell directly its gold during this time. For this reason, costs were reduced by 68%, getting to 155 billion pesos. Revenues through participation of the subsidiaries in 2023 increased by 165% compared to 2022, reaching close to 86 billion. Explained mainly by more profits in the alluvial segment and not having additional affectations from Argentina given the sale of Gualcamayo. The gross profit increased by 89%, getting to 129 billion, thanks to the higher revenues through participation method. Administrative expenses decreased by 4%, reaching 60 billion, helped by lower expenses in services and less insurance and less maintenance expenses. The other revenues grew by 164%, explained by the difference in exchange rate and lower financial outlays, which were countered or offset partially by lower expenses in exploration. The net result of the year had an increase of 220%, reaching 61 billion, benefited by the participation method, revenues and cost controls and optimization by management. I finalized with a general separate balance. The assets of the company decreased in 24%, getting to 1.4 billion pesos. Explain 1.4 trillion because of lower investment in subsidiaries after the sale of Gualcamayo, added to lower cash and cash equivalents and lower accounts receivable on subsidiary companies. Liabilities decreased by 51%, reaching 101 billion. Lower payments to related companies, less derivatives and lower credits and loans. The net worth was reduced by 21%, getting 1.3 trillion, explained by other accumulated results. With this, I finalize the presentation of financial results of Mineros for 2023. I give back the floor to the Secretary of the Assembly. Thank you very much. Are there any questions about the financial statements? No? Mrs. Secretary, let's go to the 6th point in the Assembly. 6th, reading of the report from the external report, from the auditor, external auditor, Olga from Deloitte, which is the external auditor. She is going to read her report about separated financial statement and consolidated statements of the company and the year ending December 31st, 2023. Good morning, everybody. The reports of the auditor will be found in page 39 and 51 of the book that you have in your seats, the book that was in your seats. I'm going to quickly read the consolidated report. The separate report is in the same terms. To shareholders of Mineros S.A, I've audited the consolidated financial statements of Mineros S.A and subsidiary companies, what we will call the group, which encompass the consolidated financial situation as of 31st of December 2023, and the results and other comprehensive results, changes in net worth and cash flows in the year ending in that time. And the notes of the financial statements, including information about the material accounting policies. In my opinion, consolidated financial statements present reasonably in all material aspects the real financial situation of the group as of December 31st, the result of its operation and its cash flows in the year ending in that date, following and complying financial law and accounting rules in Colombia. I've carried out all my audit according to accepted rules of accounting. My responsibility according to these regulations is described later in the responsibility section. I am independent from the group according to the ethical requirement relevant for my audit of the financial statements in Colombia, and I've complied with the other responsibilities of ethics and compliance with all requirements. I consider that the evidence of the audit obtained is sufficient and enough to provide a reasonable base to express my opinion. Key audit issues are those issues that, according to my professional judgments, were of the utmost importance and were fully reflecting reality, and during my assessment of these statements and in the forming of my opinion of these, I do not express a separate opinion, but by unified opinion. The Gualcamayo was the main issue. Gualcamayo sale, as we said in the notes, 21st of December 2023, the group celebrated the sale agreement of Mineros Argentina S.A. that encompasses the operations in Argentina, segmento Gualcamayo, for the year ending in 21st of December 2023. The net loss for discontinued operation was 233 billion 27 million pesos, including the result of the sale of this segment. The group accounted for it according to International Accounting Rule 1005, non-current assets for the discontinued operation that requires the presentation of the loss or win until the sale, as well as the loss or sale of the investment as discontinued operation in the consolidated financial statement. Identify the continued operation as a key audit issue given the size and scope of the transaction and the high level of and the sufficient objectivity to understand when it was discontinued according to the rule, which requires the usage of technical interpretation of the accounting rule and a high degree of scrutiny from the auditor. The process is related to discontinuous operations, including, amongst others, to prove the comprehensiveness and validity and correctness, reading the board of directors meetings where this transaction was approved, inspect the sale agreement to get to include all the assets in the transaction and the correctness and accuracy of all the information in the operation, and to evaluate with the help of our specialists of complex accounting the application of Law 105 for the application of discontinued operation and all the disclosures of the management which are completely appropriate. Management is responsible for the preparation and correct presentation of consolidated financial statements following accounting rules and financial information accepted in in Colombia, and for in the internal control that management considers relevant for the present preparation and presentation, free of significant errors, being because for fraud or error, to design appropriate practices and establishing accounting estimates that are reasonable in the current circumstances. When preparing consolidated financial statements, management is responsible to evaluate the capacity of the group to continue to be deemed as an ongoing concern, and using the accounting principle of ongoing concern, and unless they have the intention of liquidating the group or selling or another realistic alternative. Those responsible of governance are responsible for supervising the process to report the financial information of the group. My objective is to obtain reasonable opinion that consolidated statements are free of material error due to fraud or error, and to issue an audit report that contains my opinion. Reasonable means that doesn't guarantee a detection always of a material error when it exists. Errors can be due to fraud or error. If they consider material individually or together, we expect them that reasonably that they have influence in the economic decisions based on financial statements. As part of an audit according to international rules accepted in Colombia, I apply my professional judgment, maintain an attitude of objectivity during the entire audit. Similarly, I identify and evaluate risks of material error of financial statements due to fraud or error. I design and apply audit procedures to respond to these risks and obtain evidence sufficient and adequate to provide a base and a foundation for my audit. The risk of not detecting an error due to fraud is more elevated than the case of material error due to errors, because of manifestation or the illusion of internal control. I obtain information of internal control to design audit processes that are adequate according to the circumstances to guarantee effectiveness of internal control. I evaluate applied practices and estimates and disclosures made by management. I conclude the right utilization of the of ongoing concern and the audit. I conclude that there is no material uncertainty or any circumstances whatsoever that can put in doubt the capacity of the group to continue as an ongoing concern. If I conclude that there is a material uncertainty, I would have to report it in the audit about the information revealed in the consolidated statement, or if this I would present a modified opinion. My conclusions are based on relevant conditions, and in future conditions might lead to not being an ongoing concern. I evaluate the structure and content of consolidated statements, including the revealed information, and if financial statements present transactions and relevant events in a way that they obtain a reasonable opinion. I have enough evidence about the information received or from the activities in the group to express a valid opinion about the consolidated statements. I am responsible of supervision of the audit in the group. I'm being the only responsible for this opinion. I communicate to all in charge of governance, amongst other issues, the scope and timeliness of the audit and the significant results. And I would have mentioned this in my report if I would find anything abnormal, and a declaration about the compliance of the relevant ethics principles vis-a-vis the independence, and I communicate everything, all relations that we can reasonably expect might affect my independence, and the corresponding safeguards. From the issues communicated to those in charge of governance, I declare these most important aspects in the current period. Therefore, are the key issues that were audited. I describe these issues in my audit report, unless the law or regulation forbid it. So, when in extremely strange, rare circumstances, they might not be communicated because reasonably they might expect that the adverse consequences of doing would be worse than the benefits of the public interest or benefit. Financial statements as of 2020, ending in 2022, were also audited by me, and in my report of February 17, 2023, signed Alga Liliana, Cabrales, designated by Deloitte and Touch, 14th of February 2024. Thank you very much. Seventh, the approval of the management report. Before continuing with the approval of the management report, we have to tell you we have 247,336,000 shares represented, which is equivalent to 80.85% of shares in circulation. Does the Assembly approve the consolidated management report for 2023? Hi. Anyone that is in opposition? So it is so approved. Eighth, approval of separate and consolidated financial statements as of 31st of December 2023. Does the Assembly approve the financials, consolidated and separate financial statements with dated 31st of December 2023? Anyone in opposition? I'm sorry, Dieter, he's not using the mic, so I'm not able to follow what he's saying. I'm sorry, I'm not able to get his... Jose Fernando Llano abstains and Eduardo Pacheco abstains. Yes, exactly. Yes, as representative of Jose Fernando Llano and Eduardo Pacheco, since they are legally limited to vote in the financial statement, simply abstain to vote in this point of the agenda. Thank you very much. Very well. Thank you. So we took due note of that. 9, presentation and approval of the dividends distribution project. Mr. Secretary, please read the proposition about the distribution of dividends. Profits of 2023 reached $15,441,821. We propose to bring these profits to reserves. According to the information published by the company, management proposed the following distribution of dividends. First, to bring $26,976,000 that would be 9 cents divided into 7.5 cents as ordinary dividend and 1.5 cents as extraordinary dividend. The ordinary dividend and extraordinary would be paid in the following fashion: in four quarterly payments of 1.877 cents, and 4 extraordinary payment on a quarterly basis of 0.375 cents. Notwithstanding, the Board of Directors in this morning's session proposed to increase 1 more cent the extraordinary dividend. This amount will be paid as 0.25 per quarterly on a quarterly basis to a total an additional cent per share. And in summary, the proposal of distribution proposed is the following. First, the extraordinary dividend of 7.5 cents paid on a quarterly basis. Second, extraordinary dividend of 2.5 cents per share paid on a quarterly basis. This will be updated in a proportional basis for tax purpose, and they will be paid in the at the official exchange rate of the date of payment. This proposal corresponds to a total annual dividend of 0.09 cents on the dollar per share, which represents an increase of 28% vis-a-vis the dividend, the ordinary dividend paid during 2023. So it's an increase. Does the Assembly approve this proposition? Anyone opposes? Anyone opposes? No, it's 43. No, I'm sorry. Correction. Before it was 28.5. Now it's 43.8. So it's almost double. It's 10 cents. Yes, 10 cents. It will be 10 cents. Does the Assembly approve the proposal? Anyone in opposition? It is so approved by unanimity. Thank you very much. 10th point, consultative vote of the Board of Directors. In this point of the meeting, we subject to the consideration of the shareholders to modify the order of the points of the agenda to choose to elect the members of the board before. Does the Assembly approve this proposition of changing the order of the points? Anyone against? Thank you. So as a consequence, point 10 of the order of the day of the agenda will be the election of the Board of Directors for 2024 to 2025. I give the floor to the Secretary of the Assembly to express to the Assembly what is related to the procedure of election of the Board of Directors. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At this moment, right now, we report to the Assembly members that we receive 5 lists from different shareholders, in addition to the re-election proposal presented by management, which was published in the website. All the candidates were evaluated by the Board of Directors of the company in full, in compliant Colombian regulation, including Article 16.4 and 16.4 of the Best Corporate Governance Practice Code issued by the Financial Superintendency of Colombia, and the policy of performance and remuneration. The board vetted including professional profile, diversity, independence, competencies, and conflicts of interest and incompatibilities. The lists, can you project? These are all the lists. According to what we indicated in Decree 3923 of 2000, the vote has to guarantee minimum members of the board that should be independent, contemplated in the law and in the bylaws. For the case of the company, this should be 5. Taking into account that all the lists presented, they present only independent candidates, it's correct to do a single vote. The quorum is the same quorum we announced before for the approval of the reports. It's 80+%. So we subject to the consideration of the Assembly the list presented by shareholders. I repeat that we will do a single vote. A single vote. You have to vote only for one of the lists which has been projected, and you can vote in favor, blank, or abstain. If you vote for more than one, the vote will be voided. If you vote for more than one, you have to vote for just one. Right now, we open the vote for the 9 members of the board of the company. Please take the leaflet 1 and indicate your vote, indicating your choice. If you don't mark any and you deposit it, we will post it as a blank vote. And if you don't deposit your slip, it is considered that you abstained. The staff will go to you to receive the votes. If any of the shareholders has any question, please raise your hand. Please bring the mic over to the person over there. Yes, I'm sorry, sir. They didn't use the mic. There are several slips because we thought there could be more lists, so there could. So we were prepared, or a divided election between independent and non-independent, but it didn't happen. So we're going to use a single slip. You have to choose in that slip who will you vote of those 6 lists on the board. You can go over there. You can get close to the screen here. You have only one slip. Slip 1. There's 2 slips. List 1, list 2, list 3, list 4, list 5, or list 6. You choose one and only one. Otherwise, it will be voided. I'm going to read it. I'm going to read the lists again. All right? In slip number 1, you're going to have 6 options to vote. I'm going to read every list. List 1 is the re-election proposed by management, re-election list. First, Eduardo Pacheco. Second, Dieter Jensch. 3, Jose Fernando Llano. 4, Nicolás Durán. 5, Juan Carlos Páez. 6, Mónica Jiménez. 7, Sergio Restrepo Izaza. 8, Alberto Mejía. 9, Lucía Taborda. List 2. List 2. Is it okay? Okay. The staff is willing to help you. If you have plenty of stuff, if you have any question, you need any clarification, raise your hand and the staff will go to you and we will help you. Once we finish the vote, we will go to the scrutiny of this could take about 30 to 40 minutes, this process. During this break, we stop the deliberation. Once we finish the assessment of the ballot, we will communicate the result to all of you in about 40 minutes. Good morning. Yeah, Mr. Chairman. Yes. Mr. Chairman, please, go ahead. My name is Felipe Orozco. I have a question. Why does I imagine it's a woman, Kadri Tagdalen, it's in list number 5 and in number 6 too. Why is it repeated in 2 lists? Why is Kadri Tagdalen? Because it's in a different order. Shareholders have the faculty of presenting several lists in different order. And with the electoral quotient system, you can choose in the order where they are. So that could be a strategy of the shareholders to have more security to get his list elected. So we have a quorum of 80. And effective. We're going to close the vote in 2 minutes. We have. So is someone missing? Someone has not voted. Someone has not voted. Please hurry up. In the next 2 minutes, please vote so that we can start the count. lo dejo activo. Sigo aquí también porque ellos también me están oyendo allí. Entonces, testing 1, 2, 3, testing sound. to come back. We invite the shareholders to come back. We have the results of the votes. We already have the results, so please come on over. Come back to the meeting, please. Anna has the volume a little low. Please come back to the meeting, please. One, two, check. 1, 2, 3, check. 1, 2, 3, check. English all right? Okay, good. All right, so I'm going to read the result of the ballot box. So I'm going to say the final makeup of the list. List 3, 55,334 shares. List 5, 46,611,206 shares voted. List 2, 46,316,446 shares. List 6, 45,662,273. List 1, 24,640,000. List 4, 23,882,226, and abstention 23,000 shares abstained. With the above, this is the makeup. This would be the board. This would be the makeup of the board of directors for 2024-2025. Dr. Alberto Mejía Hernández, Juan Esteban Mejía, Sofía Bianchi, Michael Doyle, Lucía Taborda, Mauricio Toro, Daniel Henao, Eduardo Pacheco, Marco Izquierdo. Thank you very much. We can go to point 10 in the agenda. Point 10 in the agenda is the consultative vote following the compensation and performance policy for the board. We request a non-binding consulting vote for the members chosen for the board of directors. Dear shareholders, as you know, this consultative vote is a practice adopted to comply to Canadian regulation with which board of directors are voted individually. See, and the results of this vote are the ones that will be used for evaluation purposes according to Section 6B of the election performance and compensation for the board. If the majority doesn't agree with one member of the board, his permanence would be evaluated. In a few minutes, you will be able to see in the screens the profile of all the chosen or the elected members of the board. They are ready. So this is a screen voting system. You go to the screens in the back. You can vote. You approve or not approve. Only two options, approve or don't approve the members of the board. The screens are right out in the back. If you'd like to go ahead, the staff will bring you the mics. Can you abstain? Of course you can abstain. You're not forced to vote. Yes. I'm going to give you 30 seconds if someone would like to go and vote. Or a minute, we'll give you a minute. Good afternoon. Could you give me the name of each one of these persons with their second last name? With their second last name, please. Yeah, give me a second and we can get that updated for you. While we complete, we can clarify what this is all about. This consultative vote is a result of the conciliation efforts of the system of the voting system in Colombia and Toronto. It was sort of in Toronto every member is voted individually. In Colombia, no. So what we agreed and was accepted in TSX by the authorities when we made the proposal of the dual listing is that there would be a consultative vote for the members, and this will be a message. This is a message for the chairman and the governance committee, which is the one that nominates or appoints and validates candidates, to see how satisfied shareholders are with the different board members. If you don't know a member, well, you can abstain. You can certainly abstain. If you have an opinion which is unfavorable based on the report, where we talk about the report talks about attendance to board sessions, or if you don't like a board member, period, you can vote against. If you don't like the profile. So it's very we know that it's difficult. It's more of an indication for the corporate governance committee, which is the one that nominates and appoints members, to be in touch or in tune with the perception of shareholders, and it's an effort to reconcile the two big markets. We know it's it's not the norm, it's unusual, but it's the result of having a dual listing in both stock exchanges. In the screen, you can see the full names with both last names of all the members of the board. You can see all the members of the board with the two last names. I ask the secretary to continue with the agenda of the day, please. 12 points, setting fees for the board of directors. The Mineros management team, the management team, with a report from the board, with the support of the corp, propose the fees, including committees, to remain stable. All the fees stable, as we show in the screen in the two columns. Current remuneration on the right-hand side column, proposed remuneration. So we will keep them the same. Honorable shareholders, do you approve the proposal? Anyone against? Thank you very much. By unanimous decision. Propositions on miscellaneous topics. Any proposal for any other discussion topic? Catalina, go ahead. Thank you very much, Chairman, Ana, Alan, Andres. As represented, the legal representative of Mercantil Corpatria, I would like to extend our deep respect to Mineros as a fundamental access to promote economic growth, not only Antioquia social and economic growth, not just Antioquia, but our country. From Grupo Colpatria, we maintain our commitment to continue working jointly and shoulder by shoulder with our partners to build a company to reach its maximum growth potential in its commitment to society and its shareholders. We also recognize the invaluable contribution of Antioquia and Medellin that are given to our history as a business group. According to our organizational values, the relationship with all our stakeholders is focused on trust and respect, principles that allow undoubtedly that a company like Mineros is a benchmark, a showcase for production, responsible exploration and production of gold. Together, I trust we will continue working for a prosperous and ethical future for this company, and we ratify a special gratefulness to our partners as well as our management and its employees for all these years of joint work. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, for this space. Thank you very much for those words. We will take note, and your expression will be in the minutes. Any other proposition or comment? Having not more other subjects to address, we declare finished this meeting. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.